As the Anglo-Saxons' year turned, each season marked a sacred moment in time. These festivals honoured the gods, the spirits, and the cycles of life itself. So let us explore together the Seder Wheel of the Year, something that I have made and would like to share with you. We are going to embark on an ancient journey through the seasons that our ancestors would have been part of. So if you're interested in this subject, guys, please keep watching. Hi guys, this week's video, as you can tell from the beginning, is all about making a Wheel of the Year, but specifically for you, for your practice, not for the general ideas that are in the books available. They're great for those that are just learning, just coming into it all, and it gives them a foundation to work through for the first couple of years. But if you're on a different type of path, it's better to make your own. That is my Wheel of the Year. You can just about see the writing, but guys, with my eye problem, you know, the writing's pretty scruffy. But it doesn't matter. It's all about getting down what you want. That little drawing in the middle is mine, but of course you can do your own drawing, whatever depicts for you. This in the centre is the wolf, the protection, the one that goes out before you and makes sure you're safe. So I'm using my festivals as a way of showing you how to go about it. But we're going to start with mine, which is the very first one, and that would be 31st of October, 1st of November, Winter Byleth. And we're talking Anglo-Saxon here, guys. I wanted to keep it stuck in my roots, if that makes sense. Even though I'm a Norse witch, I take a lot of stuff from my roots as well. And so I thought it would be good to do it on the Anglo-Saxon. Winter Byleth, the beginning of winter. It marks the start of winter, and it's about giving homage to our ancestors and the spirit folk, and all that comes with it is the thinning of the veil. It's also a time of divination, a time to seek the Seder practitioner and ask what wisdom was going to be brought through for them for the following year. It's a time to buckle down and start to look at what your harvest brought in. And so you've got the two parts where you've got the harvest, we're thanking the gods for what we've got as well. So the god would have to be Woden or Odin if you're doing the Nordic. And why? Because he is known as the one-eyed wanderer, the one that claims all the knowledge and the wisdom, but also the spiritual and the magical, but also the one that leads the wild hunts, where people will stay indoors because it is bad luck to be outside. If you see Odin and the spirit folk and all those that he has taken, they will be riding through the skies and bringing chaos. And of course the goddess would have to be Hel. You could also use the goddess Iortha, which is Nerthus as well. That would be about giving thanks to a goddess that was like the mother, the earth itself. So we would honour her for the fruits that she bore us. But with Hel, it was about the respect of the spirits, the dead. The rune would have to be Yera. I mean, that means year. And it's about the harvest, it's about accumulation, the completion of cycles, the turning of the year. So there is the first one, guys, and I put that, as I say, on the northwest side. And you'll have 8 circles. So you start at the top, and to align them up, I always do the top one, the bottom one, and the 2 side ones, and then poke the ones in between. You know, 8 is a good number for festivals for a year, because in between you've got other things going on, and you would be forever doing things if you had a festival for every day, wouldn't you? So Let's go on to the next one. So you'll be going up to the top one, and first thing you want to put in there is, now a lot of people say this different ways. It is spelled G-I-U-L-I, and a lot of people say Giuli or Giuli, but it's not, it's Yuli, okay, Yuli. So that's Old English for Yule, the time where it's full of light, everything is decorated, and that feeling of new life coming, because in the heavens the sun has come back, and we are celebrating the coming forth of the promise of the sun returning. And I do want to make a point here that in the Nordic belief, the Anglo-Saxon belief, Celtic as well, you will know that the goddess is the symbol of the sun. It is female, whereas in traditional Wicca and other things, the sun is the male energy, but it's not here. So we would use Suna, Sol in some cases, but of course we call her Sun. Okay, guess who we're going to be using as the god? And he gets into a lot of these festivals, guys, because he symbolises so much. He's brought in on all of it, really. Of course, you can look at all the pantheons and all the different gods and bring the ones in you want if you don't want similar ones for each festival. But I'm going to use Woden again because he is known for his magic, his enlightenment, wisdom, and of course the wild hunt. He's representing both death and the rebirth of the year, really. So in a way he is giving a gift, so we could think of him as Santa if we wanted to. Symbolically, he's the one that holds the staff. He's the one with one eye, carrying either a staff or a spear, of course. Some people like to depict him with the spear, and always with a group of ghostly riders. Only at this time of the year though, guys. Okay, and who else would we have the goddess as? Well, Frigg, the mother of us all. And so we give that respect to her. She's the goddess of fate, winter and motherhood. How much more would we want at this time of the year? So she is joyous, because a mother is joyous at this time of the year, giving things to their children and loving them and unconditionally. And so we have that from her, and we can go to her with presents on the altar. You know, it's a lovely time of the year. It's about light, joy, celebration and feasting, of course. She would watch over families and keep them safe. And so a statue may be put in the home and gifts would be given as, you know, please help us, please keep us safe. And so that's another way of looking at Frigg. The symbol would be a spindle, definitely a hearth fire. There's nothing better than a fire inside the home that you can all sit and huddle around when it's cold. And a cloak of stars, you know, showing who she really is. So we can see her in 3 different ways, really. The rune is Thurisaz, known as the thorn, and I always think of it as the thorn in the side because it can bring chaos. But it's also good in other ways. Protection, power, transformation, all renownedly known in this rune, and the primal force of nature. Of course, it's about deep winter, when the year dies and the new one is reborn. When someone gives birth, there's always pain before joy, and it's really saying, you know, be prepared to suffer, but to enjoy will bring rewards. So an apt rune for this festival. So the next one, guys, is called Modranith, and it's basically Mother's Night, and it's a time for women, really. I love this festival because it reminds me of Disseblot. It's when we get all the women together, the old, the young, the mothers, but also the spirit females and the spirit elders and everything female. The goddesses you can use for that is the Matrone, Izia, So, as I spoken earlier, it's really a time to give honour to the mothers, to the grandmothers, to the old, to the wise. So you're literally giving offerings and feasting around the joy of the protection that we receive from them. Of course, if you go to the Nordic one, and that would be the Disir, they could come through, there's like more like the three Norns, but in spirit form, but they were like filled with nature, and so could be unpredictable, and so feasting was done to give them honour, so in hope of next year's harvest and things like that. But with this one, with the Anglo-Saxon one, it was more or less about giving honour to the female of everything, the god of fertility, peace, prosperity. And who would that be? Freyr in the Nordic, but also we use his name in Anglo-Saxon. Sometimes we refer to him as the god Ing. There is a story that says that Freyr is the newer version of Ing. So, you know, take that as you find it, really. When he ruled, the place was wonderful. There was no war, there was only peace, and everyone was happy, and there was abundance and lots of fertility. So yes, we like to think of Freyr in the same way, and so he comes and he looks after our harvest. So a good one to pick for this, because it's about bringing new life in, and of course you have the mother part, which is bringing new life in. Okay, so now we want to look at what the rune would be, and of course Berkana, about birth, fertility, motherhood and new beginnings. And it represents the nurturing and protective aspects of the divine feminine. So the next one is one that everybody would know, and that's Eostre, which is Easter now in modern English. It is the spring festival. We have many different ways of looking at it. You can look at it the Wiccan way, but I'm not doing it the Wiccan way, guys. So when I think of Eostre, I think of a beautiful goddess bringing through all the new life, the new flowers coming through, the animals having babies, the eggs are the visionary sign of, you know, birth, new life. And of course she brings through that joy of the changing of the season into beautiful weather, hopefully. Not so much in England, but we hope and we live in hope. One of the symbols is also renownedly known as the hare, and a lot of Gardnerian Wiccans will use that a lot in their jewellery. In the circle you've got the east, and the east is renownedly known as air, and it's about new journeys, the dawn. So what goddess would we use? Well, Eostre herself. Some call her Istra, but we call her Eostre. So Eostre is the goddess of the dawn, of the awakening, of spring itself, of fertility and joy. And so she is a wonderful goddess. She's so beautiful to look at as well, guys. And then when we get to the god would be the god Ing again. But you see, you have to give honour to Ing because of what he did while he was here as the king and the god of the people. He brought prosperity, peace, joy, abundance and fertility. And while he was in charge, there was no war, there was only peace and a lovely way of living. After he went, then the pain came, the problems came. But all the time he was in charge, everyone lived a wonderful life. So we give honour to him by bringing him in to a lot of the festivals. The sacred boar, new crops, the beautiful sun, all symbols of this wonderful God. And of course, the fields brimming with new life. That's what we need. We need harvests, and so we have to work for them and bring them through. So that's what we're really seeking. I mean, you can give offerings. You know, you can make a cornbread maybe and put it on your altar, or beer, anything with nature involved. So, not popping down the shop for a bar of chocolate to bung on there. No, it's got to come from things of nature. So when you've got beer, you've got hops. When you've got the bread, you've got flour, and etc. Okay, so we have the rune for this, which would be Ehwaz. And Ehwaz is a rune of traditions and partnerships, progress, going forwards. It's the start of a new time. It depicts the horse, the stallion, and that actually means the coming together of humanity and animals. That means nature and humans all living in the same way that they should. Now, the next festival, now remember you're coming round clockwise, so you go to the next circle, and you want to write at the top, Thrimilki Nit. And it means the 3 milking night. And it sounds strange, I know. But of course we know it, and a lot of people know it, as Beltane. And it's a wonderful celebration, Beltane. Everybody loves Beltane because it's about fertility and all the stuff that goes with that. The joy of men and women coming together, the joy of children, the joy of eating and drinking, the maypole, and all things like that. But of course this is slightly different. We're not looking at those things in particular, but it is still a special Eve, and so we will still use the May Eve. Okay, so you still use the date the 1st of May, definitely. But of course some of our festivals go on a bit longer. A fitting night for transformation of things in nature, where we see the world transformed from winter into beautiful, beautiful late spring. So it's bringing in an abundance of shiny sun, beautiful plants growing, animals happy, and people joyous. So it's a lovely time of the year. We still get the cold mornings and the cold nights, but we're getting warmth during the day, so we can look to the sun and notice that energy. And that's, in our terms, the female getting ready to reproduce, to be a mother. And so the man rampant in his time of youth, coming along and ready to get together. But of course that's more the Wiccan side of things. We look at this as nature expanding and being strong and full of life. And so it will give fluidity to our practice. So if you're looking at it from a Seder point of view, it would be fluidity of contact with the elders, ancestors, and the gods and goddesses. And of course spirits, you know, we have all the nature spirits as well. We have the fairy folk, and I mean not everybody goes into that side of things, but of course when you have an abundance of nature, you have abundance of the spirit folk and the small people. Okay, and this is the goddess I love and we can use. And who would that be, do you think? Ah, Freya. Or as we call it in Anglo-Saxon, Frio. And who is she? She is the magical being that brings forth all of that knowledge. It also brings through fertility and protection as well. And she loves animals. And of course her symbols would be the chariot with the cats. And of course you cannot forget her necklace, the Brisingamen. I mean, that is a beautiful necklace and it is symbolic to her. It's a special necklace and it cost her a lot, not financially, but emotionally. And the gods, well, again, we have Woden. Now, you don't have to use Woden, but of course, because of Seder, we're bringing the two big forces together that are using this. So she would, I mean, Freya or Frio taught Odin or Woden all he had to know for that, and she taught him Seder. So we will bring the two together because it's about a partnership at this time and not necessarily a sexual thing between the two of them, because they were not, as some people put it, husband and wife. There is a difference, and I have got a video somewhere about it, guys, about the difference between Freya and Frigg. Frigg was his wife, not Freya. Okay, some people believe that Frigg was Freya. No, I don't believe that. Odin was the god of transformation as well. Symbolically for him, you could use his ravens Moonin and Hugin. Or you could use the spear or the staff. A lot of people like the spear more than the staff. It's up to you, the cloaked figure holding either the staff or the spear. And of course the rune, Lagus, the water rune. Flowing. You know, water denotes flowing, but that could be flowing of, you know, inspiration, or it could be flowing of accumulation, could be flowing of spirituality, you know, women's intuition. All these things are heightened because of the joy of this season. Okay, now we come to the big one, what a lot of people will call it summer solstice, or, you know, Midsummer Eve. There's lots of terms for it, but we call it Sunastiyara Dag, and that means sun, star, day. And the reason for that is the sun is known as a big star that's heated up and huge. And so it is our light. It is our everything. We need it for light, for warmth, for crops, for, like, imagine the earth without the sun. It would be black. Everything would be black and we would have no crops. We wouldn't be able to survive. So the sun is very, very important. So it's called that name for this reason. We are actually honouring that sun and enjoying it because it's at its peak. And so, you know, the mother is ready to give birth now and bring forth that harvest that we're looking for. And of course, a lot of people know midsummer as Litha. And of course, this is the longest day of the year. In England, we have lots of people go to Stonehenge and stand there and watch the sun come up. It's amazing. The old ancient stones and the way the sun comes between the stones in a particular pattern is absolutely amazing. So yeah, there's a lot of people celebrate in that way. They don't even know why they're doing it. In Glastonbury, for example, people go to the top of the Tor and they drum in that energy because the sun is energy. And because of that, we can feel it like the moon. We can feel it. So guys, never underestimate this festival. You can do so much with sun magic. We have the goddess Sun, or Sol in how it's pronounced. It's different. You have the German version. You have Suni, or you have Suna, or you have Soon, or you have Sol. And so basically sun. But she's our goddess, and so we call her, well, I call her Suna. Golden chariot, the rays of sun. And of course, our bonfires in the evening, where we dance around and we feel that energy. We cannot have fire without the sun. There was another god that you could use if you wanted to, because he was the personification of beauty and brightness of light, and that would have been Balder in Anglo-Saxon. But he's another god that you could bring in, because he brings in power, peace and prosperity. He was just all positive, beauty, joy. And, you know, it's lovely to have Balder involved in a festival. When we come to the rune, what other one could it be other than Sorilo and the sun rune? And that's about energy, bringing forth that power, strength and success. It's transformation again. All these festivals have a form of transformation in, which is great because we don't want to be stagnant. We want to be moving forwards and changing. Leif Mass, and that is loaf mass. That is Lammas. So we're coming round now to the festival, the first type of festival for bringing in the crops and harvest. So it's bringing harvest, it's bringing the joys of accumulation, natural cycles, because a year is based on cycles. So we can always think of Yera as the rune of cycles. It's a festival of grain, bread and abundance. So we can do things as an offering, as like making a sheaf bread. That's a wonderful thing to do, and putting that as an offering on to the altar. And of course, if you've got a group of people getting together to do a ritual, that bread would then be broken and given at the time when we bless the wine and everything. This is in Wicca, of course, but in my tradition, I do a small bun and I put in the name of the rune at the top, and it is left on the altar. I don't break it, it's just there. You know, the gods will receive that. The goddesses for this would be Eorth, again, the Earth Mother, or Frigg again, because she is the mother. She is the one that looks after us all. And so we have two ways of looking at this. She is spinning our lives. The other is keeping us nourished. And so they're two great goddesses to use. And again, we have Freyr or Ing. They are the gods that bring prosperity and abundance, and you know, we're talking about bringing in the crops, so they would be present to see what they have, you know, endured and brought through for us. You know, if the gods weren't protecting those fields, we wouldn't have our bounty at the end of it. So it's good to bring those gods back in on this festival. The rune for this is Yera again, and we couldn't use anything other than, and that is because it means year, and it's about the calendar. It's about bringing forth different things at different times of the year. And it's also saying, you know, you started the year and now you're ending the year. And so we were bringing in that force of energy. The reason we make sheath bread is because we're bringing in that very first harvest to make the first breads of the season. And of course, nowadays we can buy bread and make bread at any time of the year, but we're going back to ancient times when they only had things at certain times of the year. And of course, bread would be made out of these first crops because it was something they hadn't had for a while. Okay, now we come to the last one, guys. And this one is just harvest blot, or hayfest blot, or blut. Hayfest blut, as the Anglo-Saxons would say. And again, it's another harvest. And it's all about harvests at this time of the year, but it's also about the end of the year as such. We're coming round again to the beginning. And so it's all about climbing down. Being an equinox, it would be about balance, you know, equal times of the year, I mean of the season, of, you know, nature itself. So even everything is, we're starting to enter the darker time of the year. We can see it, the sun slipping away from us, and so we know that we're starting to go deeper into ourselves. And in Seder, it's a very important one, this one, because we now know that we're starting to go back inwards and find ourselves again. We've been like light and airy and in the world, and now we're coming back into the dark, and not quite yet, but we're getting there. So it's about sorrow in some ways, because you're leaving the light behind and you're going into the darkness. The goddess, again, you could use Eorth. Actually, she has another name as well, and that's Hretha. H-R-E-T-H-A. So, different way of saying her name, but I always use Eorth. I just find that one easy. It reminds me of the earth, and she's the goddess of change. She's bringing that bit in. She's saying, come on, I've had a busy year now, I want to rest. So, this is where she's going to go, within herself. And as such, we need to follow. And so, she is representing the earth's final gift before it sleeps and goes into winter. So, a good thing to make, and you can make these, guys, is like if you've got clay, you can make a cornucopia. And this is like a horn. And they call it the Horn of Plenty. And in the mythology stories, it talks about it never ending. Everything, food and everything comes out of this, and it never ends. But of course, we won't have that. What we put in is what we put in, and what we take out is what we take out. But as an offering to the gods, you could make one. It doesn't have to be big, and you can put, you know, things from the harvest in it. So, like little cakes and biscuits and fruit and things like that. and just stuff it full. And just leave it on the altar and they'll receive that. You can also think of the sickle, because the sickle is representing the coming death, but also the cutting down of the beautiful wheat and things like that. And so very representative of the time of the year that we are now in. Now in this one, I'm not going to bring in Freyr because he's had his bit on all the festivals, bless him. I want to bring in a new one, and that's Thuna, or Thor. Thuna in Anglo-Saxon and Thor in the mythologies of the Nordic belief pattern. So again, he's similar. He is a protector, he wields the weather, and he's very strong. He protects the harvests and he brings the right weather for them. He's also a protector of us. So he's looking after us, and I like the god Thuna, because he is, when you hear a thunderstorm, you hear the lightning and the thunder claps, you know he's looking after us. He's bringing through that energy. The rune Gebo, yeah, or Gebo. It's about giving and receiving. It's about exchanging food amongst each other. You know, different villages would exchange things. And so it's about Thanksgiving, it's about being happy with what you received and learning to be able to manage as well. And the one thing you can use as a symbol for this guy, and what is that, do you think? The hammer. His special hammer, his magical hammer. So using that is bringing through that energy. The best thing you can give drink-wise as an offering is mead. That's the wine of the gods. They love mead, and why not? It is beautiful and it is lovely to taste. And so I always give mead around this time. You don't have to give a lot, but enough, and don't just use what you've got left. Go buy a new one, give it with honour, give it with your abundance, because they've given to you. It's time to give back. And it is a traditional offering, guys. And it is actually saying thank you for our harvest. So there you go. That's the ones that I put on mine. And hopefully you should have 8 there. And you can do it your own way. You can put it in a book. Or you can just do this and make it visible so you can see. And you just put your festivals in it. Mine are just a guideline. You do what you want with it, guys. And you can just hang it up. And as I say, you just put that on the back. If you want to do it, you can paint it. You can do all different colours. Find the correspondences, the planets. You know, if you want to put a lot of detail in, you can. If you just want it written down somewhere, just write it in a book. But it's good to have your own will. And I like to do it so I can visualise it. And that's the artist in me, I suppose. But I hope this has helped you. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will be back again next week with something different. I thank all the ones of you that left ideas for videos, things that you would like to have. And so I will be doing them, guys, I promise. I will get my skates on and start to get some videos on the way. Hopefully the things you want to see. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my new subscribers, and to any of you that are watching and haven't subscribed, please think about doing so. It does help the channel considerably, and it doesn't cost anything, and you will get notified when I upload the next videos. So I'm going to leave it there again, guys. Wherever you are, whatever time of day, night or evening it may be, I wish you the best ever. House of Alang.